I don't understand why they don't get it. I forwarded the email to everyone. I took the memo, like I always do, tacked it up on the employee bulletin board. Whether they want to read it or not is up to them. Yep, I read them the memo at the morning rally. The information was right there, right on that piece of paper I put on the table in the break room. We had a meeting about this and not one person asked a question. We may believe or we may perceive that we communicate and still are not getting the desired results. So, sit down and have a conversation already. Over and over again, I see the same dynamic. Employee surveys indicate that communication is a challenge. When you read about engagement and satisfaction at work, people often complain about a perceived lack of communication, and yet we spend hours and hours of time communicating. In fact, some companies even have departments built out just for the purpose of internal communication. And yet, there is still a deficit. So what do? We spend yet more time and more money communicating. So how about this? How about we augment or replace some of that communication with a great conversation? How many times have you seen this? Well, we told them. Communication is often just seen as outbound directions, whereas a conversation is talking. It's an exchange of information, and there are really strong benefits to having conversations in certain situations. Why is a conversation important? Because it is more sticky. It has greater impact. Think about the dynamics of a conversation. Information is given. Information is received. Questions may be asked. Challenges may arise. And through that back and forth, that exchange of information, there is a repetition that occurs. And so consequently, it does have greater impact. And at the end of the conversation, there certainly is greater clarity. Conversations create importance. Think about this for a moment. What is the difference between receiving an email or reading a memo that's on a board and someone saying, "Come on, sit down. I would like to spend time with you"? Which one makes you feel more important? Which one makes you believe that the information is valuable? During the course of a conversation, questions, certainly we hope, questions will be asked. Challenges might be brought up, even barriers might be brought up. And this is the exact reason why some people don't want to have a conversation. They don't want to hear it. But the reality is, whether heard or not, those questions, barriers, and challenges still exist. What's more efficient? To address them up front, or to ignore them and let the challenges and trouble come later? And think of this. As much as you may not want to hear those questions or challenges, it's all information, and often very good information that can help a project run more efficiently and more smoothly if the information is gathered up front. And there's this. Conversations create alignment. So that once that conversation is over, there's a greater confidence that everyone is headed in the right direction. And that creates greater efficiency and, even greater engagement at work. And speaking of engagement, conversations mesh thoughts and information together, and that creates engagement. Think about your own experience. Think about a directive given by email versus someone taking time to sit down and talk with you for a few minutes. In which one do you believe you have greater clarity, engagement, and satisfaction? Let's talk about the barriers to having conversations or the workarounds that people may come up with. Invariably, there's this. Let's just have a large meeting and then let's provide time for Q&A. No, it's not the same. You've seen it happen. Large meetings are often intimidating and people are either too shy, don't want to stand out, don't want to seem stupid by asking a question. In fact, I've been in these large meetings where people have been seated to ask questions because they know no one's going to speak up. If you want to have a meeting, that's fine. That's just icing in the cake. But it does not replace the impact of a one-to-one conversation. And then there's the issue of time. I mean, I've got too much to do already. I'm working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. There's a pile of projects on my desk, and you want me to sit down and actually talk with people? Don't have the time. And that is very, very real for most people in the workplace. So, to accommodate these important conversations that can build efficiency, we need to look at the reality of our workload and think about these things. How much time is spent with individuals after a communication goes out, clarifying what the communication was supposed to mean? How much time is spent backing up and realigning people or even correcting mistakes because they thought they got the right information, but in fact, they had not? Think about those aforementioned questions and barriers and challenges that perhaps have gone unaddressed, and they don't go away. So there is an undercurrent. People are still talking about this stuff, like, how's this supposed to happen? I don't know what's going on. That really is getting in the way of greater efficiency. Here's the big one, getting back to engagement. If people are not fully engaged, they may just pick up and leave for something better. Now, think of the amount of time and resources that are spent getting and training a new candidate for that position. On the very positive side, when you are in conversation with an individual, you're training them. You're developing them. They are learning more about your job so that you can start to delegate some tasks to those individuals and you have more time for those important, guiding, coaching conversations. Does everything, every directive require a conversation? Simply put, no. Use discretion. A reiteration of holiday operations probably does not require a conversation. A reminder to fill out the benefits form probably does not require a conversation. And God help us to notice that you're cleaning out the fridge on Friday and everything's going to be thrown away does not require a conversation. Introduction of a new project, however, probably requires a conversation. Certainly, a cultural shift or change requires a conversation. Even perhaps a revenue opportunity or a shortfall in revenue requires a conversation. And do conversations replace our existing communication? Probably not. Because remember this, for someone to hear something truly, it really should be available to them at least 7 times. Conversations are an underscore to that communication. They're saying, this is really important. I want to talk with you about this. I want to listen to you. I want to hear your questions. I want to hear your objections, and let's work through this together so that we can align. Because conversations create engagement. And that engagement and that fluidity creates more efficient work and greater satisfaction for all. If you like this, hit that like button, please share, and please subscribe. How to structure a great conversation? Well, there will be a video following. Meanwhile, if you're interested in individual or group coaching on workplace satisfaction and performance, my contact information is right there in the description. Thank you.